I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus.
We must have been at about 40,000 feet when it happened.
What was that?
You are the Slayer. One girl in all the world.
Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Guess what? I feel better.
Guys, where are we?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I have some exciting news, actually.
Yeah, what's the news?
I have a real office chair in this room now. It's pink, and
Of course.
the arms lift up,
Oh, that's cool.
which is kind of neat.
So you can swing your
it's-
legs to the side?
Yeah, if I wanted to, or let Appa hop up, which has happened a couple times.
That's
Mostly,
cool.
he just puts his arms on me to let me know, or not arms.
His arms? He's got
I
arms.
guess it's his legs. Well, it's just like, his front legs. They act like arms sometimes. So,
He has opposable thumbs.
just shut up. He gets up and it's like, hey, it's time to go. Time to go for a walk. Time to feed me.
He
Time
speaks
to
too.
play with toys.
Right.
Yeah, he speaks to me. He's my familiar.
Congratulations on your chair.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it
Because
is very
before I was
exciting.
sitting on a sad, not really director's chair,
Mm-hmm.
because it was not normal director's chair height. It was normal chair height, which I'm like, the fuck's the point of a director's chair if it's not going to be taller,
Yeah. Well, I have a short director's chair. It has my name on it too.
Oh,
don't know
mine
where it
doesn't
is,
even
though.
have my name on it.
Yeah. My mom
I
got it
got
for
it
me
on
for my
Amazon.
birthday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It's
What a
pretty,
nice
it's
mom
pretty
gift.
cool. Yeah. So anyways, what else is up?
That's pretty much all that's going on in my life.
Got a chair. Cool.
That's very exciting.
That is very exciting. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're all done
Good
catching
talk.
up. Cool. All right. Let's just get into Buffy the Vampire Slayer then.
All right. Oh, I'm so pumped about this.
I know you are.
This is my favorite episode of this season.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it 2 times, almost 3 times.
Wow.
I was really tempted to watch it a third time because the first time I kind of had it on while I was working,
Okay.
just as sort of background. So I wasn't really totally paying attention to it. And then the second time I watched it and took notes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was gonna watch it a third time, for pleasure, but I decided
For
that
pure
was too much.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we really get into the episode, we
Yep.
should recap your predictions.
Okay.
I really shortened them down because they've gotten out of hand, Pat. You have so many freaking predictions, and a lot
Hey,
of
you
them
keep
are
asking for
long
more.
term.
Yeah.
I don't really ask for more. That's just part of the the podcast
It's just part of the
segment.
show. Yeah.
So I just kind of pulled in the ones that were relevant
Okay.
for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we have the longer term one where your prediction is that at the end of this season she'll fight the master.
Ooh, that's
but
changing
then-
now. Just to let you know, I got
Oh.
a new prediction.
Okay, cool. Well,
We'll get to that.
did you write it down this time?
Mm-hmm.
Did you write? Okay, you're the way that you're saying and winking your face like that makes me believe that you're having some kind of stroke.
No, I wrote it down.
Okay, good, great. So you said that Xander will keep getting friend zoned by Buffy. Maybe 3 seasons before they accidentally kiss or something awkward happens, which leads them to kiss.
Yep.
Down the road in another 2 to 3 seasons, there's going to be an episode dedicated to a new teacher coming to Sunnydale High. She's beautiful in English. Giles is going to fall in love with her, and it's going to be revealed that she is somehow bad.
Ooh, I got something to add to that as well.
Okay, cool.
For
You have it written
predictions
down.
later.
You'll remember?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you'll remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Listen, I don't want to have to scroll back up to the top of this document for you, Pat.
Okay.
It's too much work for me. I'm already carrying you
I'll just
in
come
this
up with new
podcast.
predictions anyways. You'll never know what they are.
And you said Flutie is done for. The principal character is going to be a revolving door of guest stars.
Yep.
And other characters will get possessed.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of the ones that I thought were either most recent / relevant, potentially.
One of my predictions from last episode got debunked already.
I don't even remember. I thought I pulled all the ones from last episode.
It was the one about the cage within the library. I said that was going to be a single serving cage, and it would never, the one with the meal slot, would never see it again, but in this episode we see it again. So
I mean, it's not actually, I guess I didn't write that down as a prediction because I didn't really
believe
think
in
that
it?
was, I didn't believe, I thought it was stupid.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's not like the cage is a main character that we have to watch.
Right.
But maybe, you never know.
It's becoming a character
Yeah.
already.
You're a
With its
character.
Meal slot mouth.
So those were your predictions.
Okay, cool.
Nobody's locked up in the cage though.
Well, Xander was last episode.
I know, but you said it was debunked.
Well, I was
This
saying
episode.
No, I thought the cage was going to go away entirely. Like I thought it was
like,
only there for the convenience of the episode so that they could lock somebody up within the library and then we would never see the cage again. But here we are, episode later, and they open the cage and we're seeing like a weapon cache like within a closet inside the cage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
it's not that it was like being used to hold anyone.
No.
It was just
not in this episode,
there.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is season 1, episode 7 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The episode is titled Angel. The original air date is April 14th, 1997. Written by David Greenwalt and directed by Scott Brazil, who only directed this one episode. So we start on Colin.
Well,
The
hold on.
anointed one. What?
We start on the
what?
blood well.
Okay.
First
start
thing
on
we
the
see is the blood well. I wrote in my notes. I was like, blood
That
well,
blood
first
well
shot,
coming
and then we
back.
tilt up to Colin.
Yes. Okay, you're right. So we open on the blood well.
Yeah, it's very
and
important.
then we look over and we see Colin, the anointed one, and the master who's upset that Zachary was killed by Buffy. Darla, the blonde vampire, wants to kill Buffy, but the master says that she has a personal interest and decides to send the 3 instead.
Yes, I will send the 3.
Yes. So then we cut to the Bronze. They're at the annual fumigation party, which is the closing of the Bronze to nuke the cockroaches, as Willow informs us. And that party's going strong, but Buffy is pretty mellow, lost in her thoughts about, who we find out is basically Angel. And she's kind of like, but Willow's like, oh, are you thinking about a boy? And she's like, if I was, there'd have to be a boy for me to be thinking about. And Willow kind of digs in a little bit. And Buffy, sure enough, is thinking about Angel.
Yep.
She says, when he's around, it's like the lights dim everywhere else.
Yeah. And Willow's like, I know what you're saying. And then she looks at Xander and he's on the floor dancing wildly.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. He's making a damn fool of himself on the dance floor. And then
He's
he
lighting it
insults
up.
He's living his best life
He is.
there. He's
Yeah.
having a great time insulting Cordelia, all the points for that, Xander. Then he goes over to Willow and Buffy's table and, they're kind of bringing him down.
Yeah.
Willow stomps on a cockroach, and which would get her a free drink. And then Buffy heads out, not wanting to, quote, infect those nearest and dear to her.
Right.
And once she's outside the Bronze, she's greeted by 3 super strong vamps as they pin her to a fence.
The 3.
The 3. Well,
The 3.
I guess we can determine that that's who it is, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the intro. So after the intro, Angel shows up with a quip of his own.
Oh, I always do this to you, but we got to go back.
What?
So-
How?
So I was a little confused at one part in the
Okay.
Bronze when Buffy actually decides
I just want to say
leave.
something really quick. I'm
Okay.
trying to hustle and move this along,
And I appreciate that.
you're bringing me back. So I just want to thank
I
you. Thank
appreciate
you for
that.
appreciating that.
Yes,
But
traditionally.
I'm all up for whatever you want to discuss.
Yeah. Normally, I am always trying to hustle you along to get through the episode. But, when it comes to my notes, we just got to go back every once in a while.
That's
Okay.
fine. I'm good with that.
Okay, cool.
I could talk Buffy all day. I could
I know
talk
you
Buffy
could.
way more than 2 hours on a Thursday night.
Right, for sure. So before Buffy leaves the bronze, or actually right after she leaves, Willow holds up her shoe and she
Yeah,
says,
'cause
want a free drink? What's
Yeah,
that?
because she stomped on a cockroach.
So why want a free drink? Oh, that's how you get free drinks at the
Yeah, I
fumigation
said
party.
that. Yeah, so you stomp on a cockroach and then you bring
boy.
up the cockroach.
This show's so
Or,
confusing. It's so hard to follow.
Really? I mean, I feel like they showed people at the
Yeah.
beginning
I should have
doing
put that together.
and then Willow is like, "Ooh, cockroach," and she stomps and then lifts up her shoe. She's like, "Want a free drink?"
Yeah, you know what? You know what probably happened is sometimes I take furious notes, and the note before that was I was talking about the lights dimming and Willow's oogling Xander and all that. So I think I was typing all that, and I might have missed something with the cockroaches.
Oh, I try to pause when I type up my notes.
I do too sometimes, but sometimes I feel like I get I get ahead of myself. I'm like, I can handle this.
Yeah, and then you're like, clearly you can if
And
you
then I
didn't even
miss.
know what the cockroach was.
Because I actually
Come on,
paused
Pat.
it and I rewound. I was like, did she hold up her shoe and said, want a free drink? Like, what the what the hell is happening here?
It's just that, the bartenders there really love Willow's foot funk, so she
Ugh.
gets free drinks whenever she wants.
Yeah, they just sniff it. They just grab her shoe and then, all right, free drink for you. We
so
love Willow's foot
nasty.
funk. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's the cockroach that was
Okay.
on her shoe.
That wasn't worth going back for.
But I feel like it does kind of happen sort of off screen. Like I don't think we actually see her step on it. Like I think we kind of hear her do it.
Right, we just
and
see
like
the
she's
shoe
like, "Oh, cockroach."
come
And
into
then we
frame,
see the
yeah.
and then we see the shoe, but we don't see like the dead cockroach on it.
Right.
Which
Yep.
I'm grateful for. So after the intro, Angel shows up and he's got a quip of his own. Do you remember what the quip was?
Good dogs don't bite.
Good job, Pat.
I
Beautiful.
wrote it down.
Yeah. And then he helps free Buffy. But they're clearly a little bit worried about being overpowered, so they just run for it all the way to Buffy's house, where Angel informs her that vampires can't come in unless they're invited. So she's like, I've always heard that, but never had like tested the theory. So the three are she sort of like pushes them back, and they're kind of like banging on her door and stuff.
Right.
She realizes that Angel's hurt, so she goes to get bandages and orders him to take off his jacket and his shirt.
She
And then I
orders
wrote,
him to.
meow.
So this is why you love this episode so much.
Oh, it's just seeing him shirtless.
Is
100%.
Angel? Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not an Angel girl.
You're not?
I mean,
thought
I like Angel, but he's not
Right.
my favorite man in the series.
Oh, I thought for
Spoiler
sure
alert.
this was like the reason why was all this closeness
Come
with
on,
Angel
there's a
in the
little bit more
bedroom.
depth to me than that. I
I'm
know
actually
in Movie
kinda
Club I'm
relieved.
constantly talking about the hot guys that we're watching these movies of, but no, this is not why it's my favorite episode.
Well, I'm slightly relieved then. Okay.
Good. I'm glad. So Angel obliges. We see a tattoo of some kind of winged creature and an A on his back. Buffy accuses him of following her, and he says that he was just out for a walk, that he lives nearby.
Most people walk in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just keeping an eye on her. Buffy's mom comes home to break the sexual tension.
Yes.
And Buffy suggests that before she can see Angel, Buffy kind of like gets in front of her and suggests that she go upstairs, get into bed, and I can bring you some hot tea.
Yeah. Night, Mama. Go to bed.
Joyce goes, "That's sweet. What did you do?"
Yeah. She knew something was up.
And then Angel rounds the corner, introduces himself, and Buffy is like, "Oh, he's a student who's in first year of community college, and
Yeah, he's older.
tutoring me in history."
Yeah.
But not that much older. So, Joyce is kind of like, "Okay, I'm going to bed. You too," and so
Yeah.
she goes upstairs. Buffy kind of fakes saying goodbye to Angel, closing the door, and then they sneak upstairs to her bedroom.
Very scandalous.
Very scandalous. Oh my God, this would never happen in my house. Never.
No.
I would have to like leave the door open. Well, I mean, I guess Joyce didn't know, So
I feel like she knew.
yeah, you think so?
I feel like Joyce is like, you know what? Girls gonna be girls. I feel like she trusts Buffy a lot, so she likes to go to the bronze all the time.
Yes, but she also did burn down the gym at her last school.
Gotta have chances.
So,
Multiple chances.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely not a helicopter parent, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, she's not questioning everything. She does question, but not everything.
Yeah. Whether Joyce knows or not, they sneaky sneak Angel into her
stairs.
bedroom. And then Buffy asks why Angel has been helping her out, and he says someone has to, she's like, I'm the Slayer, so like this is like destiny for me, like I have to do this, but why are you doing it? And he's just like, someone has to. And then he reveals that his family was killed by vampires a long while ago. And then he changes the subject by saying that Buffy even looks pretty when she goes to sleep, which is what every girl wants to hear.
Right.
She's like, oh, well, you should sleep on the bed. And he's like, no, I'll take the floor,
I'll
whatever.
Take the floor.
Yeah, you do a great Angel.
Thank you.
Pohan. Yeah,
I've been
good
working
job.
on it.
Good. It shows. So he goes to sleep on the floor, and Buffy finds what I think is a very sneaky way of finding out if he's single. She says, do you snore? And he says, I don't know. It's been a long time. Do you want to say this line?
Nope, because
Pat?
I didn't write it down.
Okay.
It's been a long
He
time
says,
since I've had that chance or something.
Since anybody's been in a position to let me know.
Right. But that's not
Yeah.
her finding out. That's him telling her. Like, he could have just been like, I don't think so. That's what I would have said.
That's true. That's true.
I might have. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't have anybody in my bed with me usually, so.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right. How else would you know that you're snoring unless somebody else would tell you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're a weirdo and you record yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, you listen to yourself sleeping like a podcast. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I love this part. This is when I almost woke up.
So next day at Sunnydale High, Xander is not happy about the sleepover, while Willow, complete opposite, wants to know all the steamy details.
Of course.
But Buffy says that Angel was a perfect gentleman. And then Giles comes in and informs Buffy that she was attacked by the three.
Yep.
They're warrior vampires. They're very proud and very strong.
Yeah, Giles got his books open. He already knows what they are.
Yeah, and so Willow is like, how is it you always know this stuff? You always know what's going on. I never know what's going on. And Giles is like, well, you weren't here from midnight until 6 researching it. And she says, no, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's his job to know.
He's the watcher.
He's a watcher. That's what a watcher does. Mm-hmm. So then Giles is, basically like, well, you must really be, pissing off the master, or like having him kind of run scared a little bit because he wouldn't send the 3 for just anything. Mm-hmm. So she's obviously having an impact on him, and they need to train with weapons. But they don't have to worry about the 3 anymore because the 3 will offer their lives in failure, which they do. And, the master's kind of like, meh, I'm not that excited about it. But Darla is very excited. So she gleefully stakes them in the master's lair. Then back at Sunnydale, Giles puts a closed sign out in front of the library to keep out pesky students trying to use the library for its intended purpose of knowledge pursuance.
Yeah.
And Buffy grabs for a crossbow.
Yeah, this is when we see the cage again.
The cage,
with the meal
yeah.
slot.
So she goes into the cage, and there's a weapon. What did you call it?
I called it a weapon cache.
Weapon
Or
cache.
a weapon cache. Cache.
It would be a cache. Cache is like stylish weapons.
Oh, well.
So like if they've got like a nice little scarf on them or something.
Yeah. Well, so Giles is always dressed in a wonderful cachet. Is that not how you use the word?
No.
I have much to learn.
Cachet is more like trendy style. Like
You look so cachet.
Cordelia would have cachet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
something
you
have.
don't look cachet. It's you have it.
You got it. You got
Yeah.
the cachet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have it or you don't. And
Yeah.
I would say, not me speaking, I love Giles, but like if we were from Cordelia's perspective or Buffy's perspective, like Giles does not have cachet.
He's old and dusty.
Yeah.
A little
So
crusty.
Buffy goes into the weapon cache, not cachet.
Right. Cash.
Grabs for the crossbow and says, "Goodbye, stakes. Hello, flying fatality."
And he's like, not so fast.
Yes,
Something
very
like that.
good. Very good, Giles. A little too nasally.
Okay. Well, that's
so-
just my voice.
Okay, that's all right. Giles tells her the crossbow comes later. They must begin with quarterstaffs, which are basically long wooden rods straight out of Robin Hood Men in Tights. Which, Buffy kind of says as much. She's like, Giles, 20th century, I'm not going to be fighting Friar Tuck. He tells her to put on pads. She says she doesn't need them. And Giles is like, well, we'll see about that. En garde. And he kind of like whacks her. Or like, sort of holds up his quarterstaff.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy blocks all of his hits and then knocks him on the ground. And then he's like, okay, we'll move on to crossbows
Yeah,
now.
she destroys him pretty quickly.
Oh, Giles.
He tries.
It's okay. Books are his thing. Everybody's got their thing.
Everyone's got their thing.
So back at the Summers residence that night, Buffy brings dinner in a Ziploc bag, which, by the way, is totally a Mike Jensen move. He complains that we never return his Tupperware containers. So my dad, if ever he gives us like leftovers for having dinner at his house, they always go into a Ziploc bag.
Smart.
I guess, but it's kind of messy.
So I thought it was funny when Buffy comes home to Angel, who's like hiding in her house. I was like, this is
Yeah.
kind of like E.T. Like I'm sure he's just hanging out in her closet all day, trying on her clothes.
I really now I'm gonna have to Photoshop that scene in E.T. and just put Angel's face there instead of E.T.
Yeah.
when he's hiding in all the stuffed animals. Like the photo.
Buffy.
Didn't I send you that photo of Appa when he was doing that? He was
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
hiding
yeah.
behind pillows or something.
Yep.
He does that sometimes. He just likes to be
Right.
buried under pillows.
That's what Angel did all day.
Yeah. So she asks Angel what he did all day. He says, he read a little and did a lot of thinking. And Buffy looks over to her diary, sees that it's out of place, and panics that that's what Angel was reading all day.
Right.
So Buffy's like, my diary? You read my diary? She goes and throws it in a drawer, and she's like, that is not okay. A diary is a person's most private place. You don't even know what I was writing about. Hunk can mean a lot of things, bad things. And when it says that your eyes are penetrating, I meant to write bulging. And A doesn't even stand for Angel for that matter. It stands for Ahmed, a charming foreign exchange student. So that whole fantasy part has nothing to even do with you at all. And she just
Yeah.
kind of is spiraling out of
I'm
control.
glad
and
you wrote
Angel's
all
like,
that down because she does become a little unhinged at that moment.
yeah, I mean, I would too if I thought a guy that I was into was reading my diary.
Yeah. Did you ever
and
write a diary?
Oh my God, yeah, I still have them.
Yeah. Why did I even ask that? Obviously,
Come
you
on.
wrote diaries. This what a
So
dumb
I have
question.
I have 6 diaries or something
Wow.
from my youth. So Angel's like, your mother moved your diary when she came to straighten up. I watched from the closet. I didn't read it, I swear. And he's just kind of like, chill, take it down a notch. And then, they're kind of both sort of talking over each other, but basically Angel's trying to get out that he can't be around her because every time he's around her, all he can think about is how badly he wants to kiss her. And she's
Yeah.
like, what?
He kind of goes hard in the paint at this point. He's like,
Yeah, he does.
Here we go. Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm older than you. This can't happen. And of course they kiss anyway.
Oh,
And then what happens,
they had
Pat?
to. And then first they get really into the kiss. It ain't just like a little kiss. It's like
Full on smooshing.
full on smoosh, face smooshing, hardcore face smoosh. And then, so my note says, boy, they really get into it. And then blam, he's a vamp.
Oh, what?
A vamp.
Oh, okay. You just said vamp twice.
Yeah, vampire. I don't know why I wrote it twice. I think I was just blown away. Like, what? Vamp.
That is why I love this episode.
Because he turns into a vampire?
Yeah, because we're like, oh, fuck?
Right, because we thought he was
Didn't
just
see
going to
that
be
coming.
like a savior, some sort of good guy, but it's a little more complicated.
It's a little more complicated than that. So what were you thinking in that moment? That's why I was excited to watch this episode, because I'm like, you've had some crazy predictions, but you've never, what was interesting to me is you've never had a prediction about Angel at all.
No.
So
probably
I was
because
like,
he was slightly uninteresting to me in the earlier episodes. Like, we would only see him a little bit, and his sort of one note, like, he'd just be like, be careful, Buffy. Something's coming around. And she'd be like, oh my God, he's so hot. And like, that was the end of the character development.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that this episode gave his character more light and darkness. But him being a vampire does make him a way more interesting character.
yeah. Did you see that coming at all?
No, not at all. Most things in shows and movies surprise me. You will find. I am very easily had.
I'm not usually. Not with like horror anyway.
Yeah.
Except like if it's a really good like psychological thriller, then I'm like, that usually gets me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I probably when I was watching at this point, if I was watching this for the first time, I'm not sure I would have guessed that, but I might have. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I get had so easily because I miss tiny details like the whole cockroach thing in the beginning of the episode. You miss things like that.
You'd never
and then you
get a free
surprised
drink.
By things. I would never.
You'd never get
drink.
free drinks.
I'd be like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Well, I guess I'm just more surprised that you didn't have any predictions like even to say, oh, I think Buffy and Angel are gonna date, or like you'd never had anything about Angel. So yeah, so I just kind of love that you went from nothing to like, here's this full episode about a character who like David Boreanaz is not even in the intro, and here's a whole episode about him.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't interest me. You know what? Mrs. French interested in me more.
The real Mrs. French?
Yeah, the old lady, because she was so nice.
She is
I want to know
nice.
more about her, but Angel, whatever.
Meh.
He's just, okay, go ahead.
So he turns into a vampire. He gets all vamp face, and then Buffy screams. Angel jumps out her window and runs. Joyce hears this and asks Buffy what happened, and she's just like, nothing, I saw a shadow.
And then my window exploded.
Well, no, he didn't break her window.
Oh, he just jumped out.
He just like, either it was already open or he pushed it open, but it's not like he busted through her window.
He didn't break through. That happens later. I mix it up with what
Spoiler
happens
alert,
later.
Pat.
So, it's not like they're watching the show with us right now.
No, that's true. You never know. Maybe.
I mean, if they are, kudos.
Yeah.
We probably talk longer than the episode actually is.
It's possible we do.
Yeah.
So anyway, next day at Sunnydale High, Buffy informs the gang what happened and asks if a vampire can ever be good. Giles says a vampire isn't a person. She's like, can they ever be a good person? And he says, a vampire isn't a person at all. It may have the movements, the memories, even the personality of the person that it took over, but it's still a demon at the core. There is no halfway. So Buffy can't understand why Angel would have been helping her if he's just this evil demon.
Right.
And she's like, is he working for the master? So yeah, Xander tries to simplify things for Buffy.
He's like, look, he's a vampire. You're a slayer, right?
Yeah.
So you got to dust him.
He says, I think it's obvious what you have to do. I know you have feelings for this guy, but it's not like you're in love with him, right? And then Buffy kind of looks away and he's like, you're in love with a vampire? Are you out of your mind? And then Cordelia stops and is like, what?
Right.
And Xander cleverly covers by, how could you love an umpire? Everybody hates them.
That was a good moment.
And Cordelia turns away and then is distracted by someone wearing the same dress as her.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing wearing that dress? That was funny.
Is this a knockoff? It's a knockoff.
All right.
She's got her priorities, that girl.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to Angel going into what looks like some kind of basement warehouse type apartment situation.
Yep.
Where
he
Darla is
lives.
waiting for him.
Yeah.
And, they're like, hi, it's been a while. And they exchange quips about how long it's been. Darla saying, remember Budapest, turn of the century? You were such a bad boy during that earthquake. So turn of the century would make Angel over 100 years old, at least.
Yep.
at this point. She teases him about how he's living like a human and then opens up a shade to let the sunlight in and then opens his refrigerator to reveal bags of blood. So she's kind of like, yeah, you're trying to live like them, but clearly you're not one of them.
Yeah. So does the sunlight actually hurt him or not? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
he backs away from it.
Okay. Because it looks like it hit him a little bit, but didn't do much damage or anything.
Yeah, so he just kind of like got out of the way quickly.
He just cowers from
right.
the sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets out of the way of the sunlight. So in vampire lore, sunlight will burn vampires.
Right.
That doesn't fucking make them sparkle like in Twilight, okay? So
Okay, we've been over this.
Let's just trash that. Let's not go back there. So she taunts him, saying, you can only suppress your real nature for so long. You can feel it brewing inside of you. I hope I'm around when it explodes. Explodes. And then she says she isn't afraid of him, but she bets she, which I took to mean Buffy, is. And then she's like, tell her about the curse. Maybe she'll come around. And if she still doesn't trust you, you know where I'll be. And then she walks out. Mm-hmm. Woo, Darla.
Darla.
I don't know. She's like, she's got she's just like got this great, like dark, sexy, powerful thing about her.
Yeah, she's kind of hardcore, a little twisted.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be if you're going to be a vamp.
Yeah. And, for as long as they've been around.
Right. Old soul vamp.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
they don't have them.
They don't have souls?
No.
You like sell your soul?
I guess we'll get to that, but
Okay.
they definitely talk about that in this episode.
Okay.
Luckily,
Jesus,
I wrote
how
down
much
some
did I
actual
miss?
quotes. Gee, Pat, you got to pause the episode. There's a lot of dialogue in this that I feel like if you miss any of it, you do miss quite a lot of backstory of Angel backstory. So
Right. And to be clear, I've only seen it once this week. You've seen it twice. Plus 4 times before that.
twice this week.
Right. This week.
We cut to the Sunnydale High Library. The gang's in research mode.
As always.
In an old Watcher diary. So Giles is kind of like, yeah, it's been a while since I've read Watcher diaries. And he finds mention some 200 years ago in Ireland of Angelus, the one with the angelic face. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, they got that right. Giles asks if Angel has a tattoo behind his right shoulder. Buffy confirms this, and Xander's like, you saw him naked? We get a lot of outbursts from Xander this episode.
Xander is feeling very threatened by Angel.
Yeah, even though at one point he's like, I'm not threatened by him.
Right. But honestly, Xander, so far there's been 0 fireworks between Buffy and you. Other than you thinking she's for him or whatever. It's very one-sided. She has not thrown any sort of oh, maybe Xander. That's never been.
And he's trying a lot. He's thrown a lot at her. He gave her that bracelet in episode 3. He's tried to lick/kiss her when he was possessed by a hyena.
Right. I mean, that didn't do him any favors. So
no, definitely
and
didn't.
He remembers it. So I mean, come on, Xander. How many rounds are we gonna do? This is gonna age him very quickly.
Yeah. You don't feel like you ever acted that way around a girl? Or inside your head was convinced that if you could just get her alone and talk to her a little bit, you could convince her? You never had that? No.
If I was reading the clues that Buffy is giving off, I would just be like, this is never going to happen. It would be too exhausting. But if I was I've had relationships with girls before.
Oh, you have? That's good, Pat.
I knew you were going to jump in. I knew you were going to jump in with that.
You gave me a pause. Of course I'm going to jump in.
I know, because I was thinking about the jokes myself. But what I was going to say was, I've had the relationships where, you think that there's going to be more to the relationship. But those are very different because they weren't like this, where it was a group of friends and you're really into one girl and she's just not throwing you any sort of you talk together, but that's it. Buffy's never been like even
Xander, let's hang out
remotely
by ourselves.
intimate. Right. They've never been together by themselves, like doing anything that might lead to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no clues here other than him just thinking that whatever, she's hot or whatever.
So do you think Willow is in the same position for Xander?
No, I feel like Xander and Willow have a closer connection. So I feel Willow's more in the right to be thinking that there's a possibility of a relationship between her and Xander.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel more chemistry there, whereas Buffy just feels very devoid of anything with Xander.
Yeah. Not like how she is around Angel.
No, Angel
Wearing that
drives
leather
her
jacket.
wild. Yeah.
The lights dimming.
Yeah. 240 years old.
Hey, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Well, that's this scene. I'm just catching
Giles
you up.
reveals Angel has been around for 240 years or so. There we
Right.
go. Now we've gotten
Yep.
there.
Okay, good.
And then he's like that, he's kind of like, it's not really that old for a vampire.
Yeah.
That's not really that long for a vampire to be around, which I'm thinking 240 years sounds like a long fucking time. That
Yeah,
is
it's a long
multiple
time.
lifetimes of people.
Yeah, I think I would be very sick of life by 240 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, that's too
Definitely
much.
a lot.
Yeah.
Especially just dealing with like all of humanity's just craziness.
Yeah, and
Like at
how
a certain
history,
point you're like, all right,
right?
I'm good.
History repeats itself, and you see us making the same mistakes over and over.
Exactly.
We just get cooler doodads as the years go on.
Right.
It's like, remember when we first invented the wheel? That was cool. Now we have like
Now
race
we have
cars.
computers.
Yeah, now we have computers where we can watch hyena death kills in full
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently the hyena, I don't know why I didn't bring this up last episode, but the most of the hyena footage that they were watching was actually like African wild dogs and not actually hyenas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good thing we couldn't
Little fun
zoom
fact.
in and enhance that
No,
old standard
everything would just
definition
be
footage.
super pixelated.
Yeah. But I thought I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but it's coming to me now, is when Willow was just there for hours just watching hyenas kill.
Why?
In full screen. It wasn't like she was reading text next to it, like as an encyclopedia on disc or anything. It was just full screen video of hyenas killing elephants.
I know. Or African wild dogs.
Right, African wild dogs, as we come to find out.
I know. I feel like I saw that and was like, why? What's
Yeah.
the point? What are you watching? Why are you
She's like,
watching
oh, I'm
this?
just learning. It's like, okay, that's enough learning for one night, Willow.
Come on, go to bed, honey. Giles reads a little bit more from the Watcher Diaries, and he says, Angelus leaves Ireland, wreaks havoc in Europe for several decades, and then about 80 years ago, the most curious thing happens. He comes to America, shuns other vampires, and lives alone. There's no record of him hunting here.
So Angel is Angelus.
Angelus,
and
yes.
Xander is just jealous.
Oh, you've been waiting to make that, huh?
No, it just came to me.
I'm proud. That was a good one.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Well done.
Totally worth it.
Giles says, like, basically, even though there's no record of him hunting, like, he insists that vampires do hunt and kill. It's in their nature. But Buffy says, he could have fed on me, but he didn't. So, mystery not yet solved. Don't really know what's up with this Angelus Angel guy.
I don't like the phrase fed on me. It gives me
No.
the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but
Like,
that's what it is. Their
I would
food.
prefer, like, he sucked my blood.
He
but,
did
like,
suck my
fed
blood.
on me? Ugh.
Yeah.
Something a little too animalistic for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. But
Yeah.
that is what it is for vampires.
That's what it is.
Like, it's just feeding,
Ugh, I don't like that either. Feeding? Maybe just fed and feeding. The words don't work for me.
Well, it's going to be very uncomfortable for you then, because, maybe they don't say that a ton, but, like, that's definitely what it's called.
Yeah, that's what vamps do.
Yeah. Taking a little dip in the neck. A little neck dip.
Little dip in the neck.
I don't know where that came from. I'm trying to find something else for you.
Little dip nip. Little dip in the neck. Little wimp, get a dip.
What's happening? Okay. So,
Okay.
and then we cut to the master's lair. Darla insists the master should let her take care of the Slayer. Her plan is this. Angel kills her and comes back to the fold. The master recalls Angel as the most vicious creature I ever met. And Darla insists Angel will kill Buffy even though he has feelings for her to keep her from killing him. The master kind of turns to Colin and is like, see, this is how a family works together, Colin.
Yeah, I like how Colin's sort of like his mini-me.
Yeah.
He's like, you see, mini-me? We all do dark stuff here in the Bloodwell Cave.
It could be a really cool name for like a vampire bar.
Bloodwell Cave? No, it would just be called Bloodwell. It's cleaner that way.
Yeah, you're right. But it would be a cave.
Right. Or no, they would just call it the well.
The feeding well.
Ooh, it'd just be called Fed. That would be like a hipster bar. Hipster
And then the
vampire
people
bar.
who like the janitors who have to clean up every night are like, I'm really fed up with these guys leaving their bloody messes everywhere.
Yeah.
Cool. Cut to Willow and Buffy studying history in the library. Buffy is in angel dreamland.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, oh my God, what do I do about this guy? And Willow kind of just like gives up. This is what I love about Willow is she's like perfectly happy to help Buffy study. But then she's also like, yeah, let's talk about this. Like, let's get into guys. Because like, you know, if we enter this situation at the very beginning of this season, it's Willow and two dudes. So it doesn't seem like Willow has like girlfriends. So it's probably really nice for her to have a female friend around to be like, yeah, we can talk about boys.
Yeah, so Buffy's probably like her first female friend, you think?
She obviously was friends with Amy, but that doesn't seem to be like a super close friendship anymore, at least.
Acquaintance.
Yeah. And, you know, given the like conversation that they had at the Bronze in the first episode where Buffy was kind of like giving her a pep talk about boys, it just kind of felt to me like Willow's probably never gotten that pep talk from anyone before.
Yeah.
And so Willow is like talking about how she has fantasies of Xander just grabbing her and kissing her right on the lips.
Right on the lips.
Right on the lips.
Right there, right on the lips.
Buffy tells Willow she needs to go for it, but Willow kind of chickens out. You know, it's like, no, I can't just go for it.
Yeah, she says, I can't speak up. That leads to madness and sweaty palms.
Yes. I knew you would write that down because you love Willow.
I love the Willowisms.
Yeah. You love when she's being cute about boys. And so instead, Willow's, you know, asks Buffy what kissing Angel was like. And Buffy says, unbelievable. And then in the background, we see Darla listening in behind some stacks.
Yeah.
Some
I was like,
fat
oh, is she
stacks.
sneaking in? Is she going to kill? Is she going to like do some menacing stuff here? But no, she's just listening.
Yeah, she's just listening. And then Willow is like, wow, and it is kind of novel how he'll stay young and handsome forever, although you'll still get wrinkly and die. And, oh, what about the children? And then Buffy looks at her and she says, I'll be quiet now.
Yeah.
And
Or
so
remind
then-
me to bring something up at the end of this episode about this scene with Darla.
You don't want to talk about it now?
I mean, I could, but it's like spoilers for the end of the episode, so not
okay.
that it really matters like we covered earlier, but we might as well just bring it up earlier or later.
Okay.
Okay.
So then Buffy is talking about how she doesn't want to kill Angel because he's never done anything to hurt her. And then she's like, all right, let's, you know, focus on history for a little bit longer, and then she'll go home and do some major moping. Darla hears this and then slinks away. Mm-hmm. And she goes over to Buffy's house where she convinces Buffy's mom that she's a friend of Buffy's there to help Buffy study history. So and Joyce is like, oh, I thought, you know, she was studying history with Willow tonight. And
You skipped over the awesome jump scare when Joyce is home alone. She hears the creak And then she goes to investigate.
Yeah.
And she walks by the door, and we get Darla's busted face in the window.
Darla's vamp face. Yeah, that's
face.
right. Good
Yeah.
jump scare.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. And then, so then Joyce is like, okay, so she invites her in. And so this would be Buffy's third history tutor. So she's like really fucking bad at history.
Yeah, she's not getting it.
No. And then Darla sort of like stalks behind Joyce all the way like through the house into the kitchen, and Joyce is like, you feel like eating something? You want something big or something little? And Darla's like, something big.
So funny.
And then we see Angel walking outside the Summers residence. He hears a scream and then goes in to find Darla holding up a passed out Joyce, bleeding from puncture marks in her neck. Darla taunts Angel to eat Joyce and then tosses her to him. His face changes, so he morphs into vamp face.
Yeah.
And he licks his lips, but he's fighting the urge as Darla walks out and Buffy walks in. And
not a good look.
Not a good look. And that's when Buffy tosses Angel through the window.
That's when he goes through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Buffy calls an ambulance as Willow and Xander show up.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to the hospital. Giles is trying to find them as Joyce tries to explain to Buffy what happened. She says, I guess I slipped and cut my neck on, the doctor said it looked like a barbecue fork, but we don't have a barbecue fork.
So at this point, I was really concerned that Joyce is going to become a vamp. Because that's what happens, right? Normally.
Well, if you remember from the first episode, which you clearly don't. When Buffy looked at the guy who was found dead in the locker and then she went to tell Giles about it, he was like, is he gonna rise? And she's like, no, because first the vampire has to suck your blood and then you have to suck their blood.
It's a
whole big sucking thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there has to be an exchange here.
there has to be an exchange of blood.
They have to suck your blood.
Yeah, it's like blood buddies.
So you have to be willing as a victim to become a vampire in a way?
Well, I mean, I don't think you have to be willing. Like, you could be drained so much that you're weakened and then they could, pour some blood down in your throat and you ain't got a choice, buddy. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sure there are situations like we talked about earlier on, I think when we were talking about Jesse becoming a vampire, and you were like, yeah, I could kind of see the appeal in that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are people who are willing, to become vampires. Right. And again, like that's part of why like the vampire lore is that they're so, they're so like beautiful and alluring because they are trying to create more of themselves. So vampires like want to create more vampires. But they also have to feed. So it's not like they're constantly trying to create more vampires. Okay. So they'll either kind of like persuade you, and the word that they use in True Blood is glamour, where they basically sort of like almost hypnotize you into, following them and listening to them and that kind of thing. And I feel like that happens in Dracula, right? Where he kind of like, he hypnotizes the women. So Joyce is not going to be a vampire because she didn't suck anybody's blood. And then Giles walks in. Joyce mistakes Giles for a doctor, but Buffy corrects her and she's like, this is Mr. Giles. And Joyce is like, oh, the librarian from your school. Boy, the teachers really do care around here. Yeah. Because she doesn't know that like they have a special relationship beyond librarian student.
Yeah.
And then outside Joyce's room, the gang discusses what to do. Buffy is feeling, obviously very guilty about putting her mother in this situation, but also vengeful. So she's going to find Angel and take him out. And Giles warns her that, he's no ordinary vampire. I think this is going to take more than a simple steak, he says.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
So she gets the motherfucking crossbow.
Yeah, she gears up.
She gears up, goes to that weapons cache. And then we see Darla taunting Angel in his home some more, telling him to kill and feed on Buffy. He says and then he says, like, I want it over. While Buffy is investigating the bronze, Joyce and Giles are talking in the hospital, and Joyce reveals that Darla came over, and Giles is like, what? Giles tells Willow and Xander, and they all take off.
Before we get into the bronze,
Yeah.
I was thinking at this moment, I was like, you know what? Her mom should really, like, look into hooking up with Giles.
Like, in a sexual way?
Well, no, just like, like in a relationship. They should be in a relationship. Giles is a catch.
So what about the teacher?
What teacher?
The teacher that you want to come and fall in love with Giles, or you want Giles to fall in love with.
I think Giles just needs a partner.
You just really want to pair up Giles.
Yeah, I feel like he's a catch, and he's being overlooked, but he's got a
And
lot
any
of...
woman would be lucky to have him.
Yeah, many women
He's
would
smart,
be very lucky
he's
to have
gorgeous.
him. Yeah, and
He's British.
Joyce would...
One downfall is that car of his.
Oh yeah, that car's got to go. He's got to get...
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs a new car.
It's turning off all the women in Sunnydale. They're like, absolutely not. The guy with the car, please. Season 4, I hope he comes back with like a 90s Corvette. He's
I
like,
can look past the
what's
tweed,
up,
but
everybody?
I can't look past that car.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anyways, into the bronze.
that'd be a cute pairing.
It would, but your reaction is making me think that'll never happen.
I don't know. Did I have a reaction? Maybe I have a poker face.
Nah, your poker face sucks. It's never happening.
Oh, what? I have a
You
great
heard me.
poker face.
Yeah, let's see your poker face. Let's see.
Oh, well, let me get my sunglasses.
No. You can't use sunglasses. That's cheating. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question about the show, and you give me your best poker face.
Okay, but I gotta get my giggles out.
All right.
Okay.
You didn't get them out?
No.
All right, get them out.
Okay.
Does Angel have a spin-off show called Angel? That's the worst poker face I've ever seen.
As in, like, I'm doing a great job.
You're doing like a 40% great job.
So not so
right
great.
on your face. No, I know he's got a spin-off because he let it slip earlier.
Fuck. I was really hoping that my backpedaling did a good job of covering that up.
Not only that, Hulu is also a leaky bucket because
I
it
know.
recommended Angel for me.
Well, that's the thing that really pissed me off is because, like, after I said that and I was angry at myself and everything, like, as I've been watching, I'm like, there's no fucking way that Pat is watching this and it's not, like, showing him Angel.
Yeah,
There's
it's
just no
suggesting
way.
it to me. They're like, hey, what about this show? You like Buffy? I'm like, look, first of all, I don't even really like it, okay? I have to watch it for a podcast.
You don't like it yet? You're
no,
not
it's
there
growing
yet?
on me. It's fine. I like it. I like it just fine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Well, I just assumed because you forget everything that you would just
That's true.
forget that and you wouldn't
Yeah.
look it up and it would be fine. But then as I've been watching it and it keeps showing Angel, I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way he's not going to see this and, like, forget because it's very clearly
Yeah.
David Boreanaz.
Yeah. It popped right up. It's his face and said Angel. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. But, we don't know when that happens. So
And a lot of times spin-offs won't even, like, really connect to the main show.
anyways.
The bronze.
The bronze. So we're at the bronze. Buffy and Angel start to fight. Buffy aims a crossbow at him, but she misses him, probably intentionally. That was my guess anyway. Mm-hmm. And then, asks him why he did it. She said, I invited you into my home and then you attacked my family. He said, why not? I killed mine. I killed their friends and their friends' children. For 100 years, I offered ugly death to everyone I met, and I did it with a song in my heart. Did you have
he's
that
trying
quote
to...
written down?
Nope, because I knew
okay.
you would.
Well, I was hoping you would read it in your angel voice.
No, the next quote I have is a Buffy quote.
Is it right after this?
It's pretty close to after this.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep going and you just butt in whenever.
Okay, I'm going to butt in right now.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, so he's baiting her. He's monologuing and baiting her. Like, he wants her to kill him.
Yeah, we go from quiet angel who shows up, says a couple of words, and flies off into the night somewhere to his weird basement warehouse home.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now
she
we
d-
get monologuing Angel. He can't shut up.
Right. So it's not a basement because Darla says it's above ground. So it's got to be like an apartment or a loft or something like that, right?
Okay, yeah, maybe. Well, I think
Yeah.
she's using above ground as like, not necessarily literally, but
Oh, I gotcha.
you're living like a human above ground.
Right.
Humans live in basement apartments all the time. I lived in a
Right.
basement like my entire high school
Yeah, me too.
existence.
We both come from basement dwellers. We're both basement dwellers.
Basement
as a
bros.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Angel reveals that he fed on a gypsy girl,
Fed.
and the elders in her clan punished him by restoring his soul. He says, when you become a vampire, the demon takes your body, but it doesn't get your soul. That's gone. So that's what I was saying earlier, that they don't have a soul.
They don't have a soul.
Yeah, so he said, that's gone. No conscience, no remorse. It's an easy way to live. You have no idea what it's like to have done the things I've done and to care. I haven't fed on a living human being since that day.
Interesting.
Which also made me go, have you fed on dead humans then? Like, the fuck does that mean, Angel?
He's like, doesn't count.
Already did.
Yeah, just hanging out at the morgue.
Gets a swirly straw.
Yeah. Oh,
Doop, right in the veins.
Gross. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to send you a
Yuck.
swirly straw for Christmas.
No, I'll never look at swirly straws the same again.
So he tells Buffy that he didn't bite her mom, but he admits that he wanted to. He said, I can walk like a man, but I'm not one. Buffy tempts him with her own neck, and then Darla comes out of the shadows to taunt them both.
She doesn't think that he has it in him to kill her. So she's calling his bluff. She doesn't really necessarily want him to bite her, or does she?
No, exactly. So, well, I mean, I
think it's a
know.
win-win for her. At this point, she's like, you know what?
I'll take it.
If he bites me, it's
I
gonna
don't
be
have to
like
be a Slayer
so
anymore.
hot, and I can't wait to tell Willow about it. But on the other hand, I don't want to die. So if he doesn't bite me, that would be great too, because then he'd be a great guy. Win-win.
Win-win for Buffy. But
Yeah.
no, I think you're right. I think she's calling his bluff.
Okay.
And so Darla comes out and she says, do you know what the saddest thing in the world is? And Buffy says, bad hair on top of that outfit?
That was my quote that I wrote down.
I'm sorry I took it from you. Did you want to say it? How about we'll role play it? I'll be Darla.
Okay.
Do you know what the saddest thing in the world is?
Bad hair on top of that haircut?
To love someone who used to love you.
Yeah. Is that when they start fighting?
No, I think Darla does a little more taunting.
Oh, okay.
So she reveals that she's the one who made Angel, then pulls out 2 pistols. Didn't see
Dual
that one coming.
pistolas. Yeah.
She shoots Angel, but assures Buffy that bullets can't kill vampires. So that's a learning that we've got now. Buffy rolls over a pool table to avoid Darla, shoots her with a crossbow, but misses the heart. Giles,
Yeah.
Willow, and Xander make it into the bronze, and Willow, and they're like, Giles is like, we got to distract her. So Willow shouts, Buffy, it wasn't Angel who attacked your mom, it was Darla. The Buffy versus, go ahead.
This is a chaotic action scene.
Yes.
And
It's
I
like
just
it's
have to
dark in the
say,
bronze. There's kind of like a lot happening. Gun
Darla
shooting.
with the 2 guns, she fires so many bullets and she does not
Right?
reload once.
Now, I don't know very much about guns, but I was like, I feel
know
like
enough.
you can't fit a lot of bullets into a pistol.
Yeah. And I swear she shot about 50 rounds per gun.
Yeah. I mean, unless
That's a
she's
lot.
reloading them really quickly. I don't know, vampire strength
Right.
and speed, who knows? But yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, I don't know much about guns, but this seems like she's got a lot of bullets here.
I think they're also banking on the fact that the demographic that's watching the CW at the time, or the WB, sorry.
Yeah.
Watching the WB, they're not counting the bullets in the
No.
clips and being like, man, where's the clip? She's got to reload.
Right. It's definitely mostly women, mostly young girls watching the show.
Yeah, not a concern when you were watching it in 97, most likely.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
And yeah, but I don't know. I just kind of love that she's got pistols. It's just like not
Yeah, she
not what
goes
you would expect.
She goes full bad boys on her.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of great.
She even like jumps on like a cart and rolls backwards while shooting at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
very,
it's a pretty badass fight scene
yeah.
with these two
Well,
ladies.
Yeah, it's all right.
So yeah, the rest of the gang tries to keep Buffy safe by making noise and like distracting Darla. Angel then comes up behind Darla and stakes her.
Dusts
in
her.
The longest dusting scene ever. Like it just takes her forever to become dust.
Well,
'cause
she's
she
very
turns around and
dramatic
she's
about
like,
it.
Angel,
Yeah.
and then falls back.
It's like, just dust already. You know,
Yeah.
enough with the fanfare.
Then we see the master raging, but the anointed Colin assures her he will bring him the Slayer.
Yeah.
And this whole
his-
time, I'm like, this dude really looks like Haley Joel Osment. I knew it wasn't, but I was like, I gotta look it up anyway. The actor's name
I did
is...
not have that thought.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did not.
I don't know. I did.
I also didn't
have-
look at him that hard. I was just like,
You didn't look
it's
at
good.
him?
I didn't look at him. I should have looked at him.
But the actor's name is actually Andrew J. Furchland. Furchland? It doesn't look like
Furchland?
he wasn't really in much else. But he was
No.
born the same year as me. And Haley
Oh.
Joel Osment was born a year later in 1988. So could have been
Interesting.
Haley Joel Osment.
I did like how his voice was sort of auto-tuned. He had like sort of a weird vamp voice.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I'll have to pay more attention to that.
Yeah, his voice is kind of like it's got some reverb on it or something.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's got like a little electronic noise to it. It's weird.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And watch this episode again.
Again. For the third time this week.
So then at the Bronze the next day, it's the post-fumigation party.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some soft, smooth, romantic music playing
Yep.
as Buffy approaches Angel, who asks about her and her mom. And then he reaffirms that they can't be in a relationship. He's like, I just got to walk away from this. She's like, I know, me too. But they just stare deeply into each other's souls and they kiss. And
Very
Xander,
passionate again.
Very passionate.
I was hoping he's going to get all hyped up and vamp out again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like what happens every time. He's just like, ah, God.
Oh, damn it.
I
I gotta get this under control.
Not the bronze.
Don't look at me, I'm so ugly. So Xander's got his back to them and like keeps asking Willow kind of like what's going on. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
nothing. Buffy says to
He's
Angel.
like, oh, okay, as long as they're not kissing.
Yeah, which they are.
Yeah.
You know, Buffy says to Angel, you okay? And Angel's like, it's just, and she goes, painful, I know. See you around? And she walks away. And then as she walks away and Angel watches her go, the camera pans down. Which I think that's technical. No? Pan?
If
tilt.
you go up and down, there we go.
Tilting. Pan
You're
is
learning so
left to
much.
right.
I'm so proud.
Okay, camera tilts down
Yeah.
to Angel's chest where the cross he gave her has left a deep burn. So that's what he was talking about.
Ermagerd.
Ermagerd, and
So
that's where
hot.
it ends.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Great. Great.
Yeah,
ending.
I mean, whatever. I'm a sucker, okay? So I like this episode. I'm a sucker for Angel's backstory.
Yeah.
I love the reveal of him as a vampire. The fact that he is a vampire with a soul is very poetic. You know, she's a
Yep.
slayer in love with a vampire. It's just all, you know, it's all beautiful. It's beautiful, Pat.
Sure.
Beautiful poetry.
So now I'm going to ruin the episode for you.
Nah, you can't ruin it.
Let's see you talk your way out of this one, okay?
Okay,
You're
all
very
right.
good
I'm
at
gonna roll
talking
up
me
my
out of
sleeves.
these.
Here we
yeah.
go.
You get
These
ready
sleeves
for
are
this
tight.
one.
I can't roll them up very much.
Okay. Darla, earlier
Yeah.
in the episode,
Yep.
is behind Willow and Buffy, who are
Yep.
very not paying attention in the library.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Darla has 2 guns,
You think she
and
had
they're
him
not
then?
paying attention. She could have just, cha, 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 cha. She would have totally got the drop on them, killed both Willow and Buffy, yet she doesn't. She goes through this whole cockamamie plan
Oh, please.
of
I
going
got
to
this.
her mom. Oh, you got this.
Yeah.
She goes all the way to her mom's house. You got to involve Angel and some wild plot. Okay. Why doesn't she jump out with the 2 guns and blast them away?
Because she's in love with Angel. She wants Angel to come back to them. So she wants to get Angel to kill Buffy, thereby removing the threat of their relationship and removing the Slayer threat, turning Angel evil again and bringing him back to her and the Master. If she just goes ahead and kills Buffy, she's just going to piss Angel off.
I don't know how you do it.
Boom.
You just did it again.
How you like them
Talked your way
apples,
out of
Pat?
it. Jeez.
Well, she pretty much says as much. Like that's what she
That's
tells.
true.
She tells the Master. She tells Angel. So
My notes. I got all these notes. I
yeah,
thought I had it all figured out.
You're watching, but you're not looking at it. You're watching,
Oh boy.
but you gotta look at it.
So
Pat.
humbling. So humbling. Okay. You're right. I
It
totally
makes
missed
me
out
feel
on that.
great. It makes me feel
Yeah.
great to explain
Yeah.
these things to you.
I know.
I thought
I thought I had a real gotcha moment, and
No,
I
you
was
didn't.
sadly mistaken. That is true. Okay, that was not her motivation. Her motivation was more towards Angel rather
Yeah, she
than
wants
killing
Angel
Buffy.
back.
Yeah, she doesn't care about the Master as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some fun trivia for you.
Ooh, hit me with it.
So after the finale, this is
Mm-hmm.
the highest rated episode of season 1 on IMDb.
Okay.
So Buffy producer and writer, later executive producer Marty Noxon, reportedly first thought that the series was going to be a, quote, failed TV show after a failed movie. But watching this episode changed her mind, particularly the scene where Buffy offers her neck to Angel. Xander's line, "Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly," is a line from the song "Can't Help Lovin' Dat Man" from the 1929 musical Showboat.
Interesting.
So it's actually pretty funny because he's like, "Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly," like in a way, like trying to convince Buffy, like vampires
Vampire
gonna
Slayers.
eat, you know. So and vampire slayers
Oh, right.
gotta
Yeah.
slay. So don't fall in love with this guy. But it's actually a line from "Can't Help Lovin' Dat Man." So kind of funny. At some point, the Master says to the Anointed One, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Spider-Man.
As a nerd, I knew you would know that was Spider-Man, Uncle
Everybody
Ben.
knows that. You don't need to be a nerd.
But its origins are actually from the French Revolution. Did you know that?
I did not.
So, yeah, that's some fun trivia for you.
Cool. Super fun.
Hey, Pat, holiday shopping is coming up. Have you given any thought to gifts?
Don't remind me. I do have to do a lot of gift shopping, but perhaps you could help me with that? Maybe I could get some Florapothecary items or something?
Like some more whipped body butter or facial care stuff?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that whipped body butter is the bee's knees. It keeps my hands so soft during the winter, and I recommend it to everybody. I definitely will get a few of those. And I gotta get some of that acne stuff too, because I'll tell you what, my face has been super clean. How can I get some of your stuff?
Well, as you know, Pat, you can always shop online at florapothecary.com, and I can either ship to you or ship directly to your recipient, and I can even do a nice little handwritten gift note for you if you'd like. We did that once for your mother-in-law for Mother's Day, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a nice personal touch you always add to the packages. We're always excited to get the Florapothecary packages.
Thank you. But I also have my studio open select Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays in Meriden, Connecticut. So if you're local to CT, you can always book a personal shopping appointment at florapothecary.com. If you don't know what to get for the natural beauty on your list, you can always get a gift card. Shop online or book a personal shopping appointment at florapothecary.com. And hey, even if you don't shop with me, shop local, listeners. This was a rough year for small businesses, and we could really use your support this holiday season.
Cool, let's get into Lost.
Yeah.
Season 1, Episode 7. This one is titled The Moth. This one's directed by Jack Bender, and the episode originally aired on the 3rd of November, 2004.
So my predictions were that,
Claire was going to have a baby.
yep, that was number one. I think I said, so maybe within 2 more episodes at this point.
Yeah, which we didn't even see Claire in this episode again.
I know. So I'm like, great.
She's totally lost.
They're all lost. That's the point.
I know, but she's really lost. They can't find her.
No. I do think that Kate and Jack are going to get together by the end of this season. I also thought that this episode we were going to get more of Michael and Walt's. We were going to get Michael and Walt's backstory or Kate's. So I was obviously wrong about that.
Yep.
My observation of Locke becoming like the moral compass of this show alongside Jack. That sort of stays true to his character here.
Yeah.
And again, I was just like, his relationship with the island is still kind of suspicious to me, but he seems to be a good character for now.
Yeah. I think this episode sort of paints that portrait a little clearer.
Yeah. So that's really it. Nothing super specific for this episode other than, I feel like Claire needs to have her baby soon and that I thought it was either going to be Michael and Walt's or Kate's, but we get more of Charlie's instead.
Okay. Good predictions.
Yeah.
So this episode opens with Charlie.
Can I just say something really quick?
Sure.
I find it interesting that both names of these episodes are winged creatures.
Oh yeah.
Angel and the Moth. Look at that.
Look at that. Crossover.
Just silly. Just kind of a silly, fun observation for you.
All right. That is silly and
I'll
fun.
let you go now.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So Charlie is jonesing hardcore in the jungle,
Yeah,
and he's just trying to white knuckle it through, some chords on his guitar. He's having a rough time playing it. So obviously the drugs, the Parmesan cheese, ain't around anymore because he gave it to Locke. So he's having a rough time. He's having a rough go, that Charlie. So Locke finds him and he wants to take a walk with him. We cut to Jack and he's inspecting Kate's mugshot. She catches him. He's just like sitting.
Yeah, he just likes to hang on to it. Just likes to keep it in his pocket.
He's just crouched, looking.
Cuddles with it at night.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, hey. So you're just looking at my picture, huh? Well, I can get you a probably better picture, or I can get you like wallet size if you want." And he's like, "I just came by for a few things, and this was just with my stuff." That's a great cover up. This is just with my stuff. I don't know.
I don't know what this is.
I don't know what this is. And he folds it back up and he puts it back in his pocket.
Yeah, I thought Kate handled that pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
They do have fun rapport.
Also kind of annoying too.
Yeah.
But Jack is.
I still don't notice Jack breathing heavily.
Oh, you're not paying attention.
Should I be like turning up the volume?
Yeah, you gotta have surround sound. Where's your surround sound at?
I don't got surround sound. Come on, Pat.
I know. We could upgrade you. So Jack is moving to the caves, and he argues a little bit with Kate about going to the caves because she doesn't want to go to the caves.
No.
They talk about the transmission. Jack says that the signal has been running on a loop for 16 years. He says that the woman was never rescued. But I was wondering, how does he know that at this point? How does he know that she's never been rescued? Did they ever find out?
That's a good point. Yeah. But they say they just say the transmission has been running for 16 years.
Right.
But it's the same exact one, right? It's not like there's any variation to it.
Right.
So it could just be recorded and maybe she could have been rescued, but I guess
that's what I was thinking.
I guess the assumption is that because it's still playing and because like in her transmission she says like I'm alone, everybody else is dead.
That somebody would have shut it off if they were to rescue
somebody
her.
would have shut it off or, or the fact that she's alone and everyone is dead means that she wasn't rescued.
Okay.
It's not that it's exactly been proven. It's not like they've found her or found where the transmission was coming from or anything. But yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume.
Yeah.
But I did have kind of the same thoughts.
Sawyer shows up and he wants to move into the little bungalow thing that Jack is moving out of. He sort of messes around with Kate a little bit on that. Mm-hmm. Says, what does he say? He says something like he's going to keep her company or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be alone in here. Want to move in with me? Whatever, something like some shit like that.
Some Sawyerism. So Charlie's alone in the jungle. He hears some noises, some squealing, and something chases him. Turns out to be a boar, of course. Mm-hmm. And we get a cool slow-mo shot of Charlie running. And then we get a flashback to Charlie. Charlie's confessing to a priest about having relations with strange women, one after another.
This was such a great scene.
And it kind of keeps going.
He just like keeps going.
Yeah.
First of all, he's like he name drops Drive Shaft. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ban Drive Shaft.
Yeah.
It's like, and then he's like, I had relations with a woman I didn't know, and then right after I had relations with another woman that I didn't know, and then I watched them having relations. I was like, oh my God, Charlie. I mean, I was just cracking up the whole time.
Yeah, it's very Charlie. Charlie confesses about his relations, and
or brags,
he tells her. I don't think he feels good about it. It seems like he wants to go sort of the moral way of life, but he's having these temptations. So he decides that he's going to quit the band because it's just too much for him. Right after his confession, he meets up with Liam, who we find out is his brother, his older brother. And he's in the church, and he's wearing a shirt.
Slut.
Yeah, it says music slut on his shirt. And I thought that was awesome. I was like, what a shirt. So Liam tells Charlie that they've just been signed. Drive Shaft has just been signed. They're going to start getting more gigs and stuff. And Charlie's still on the fence about it.
Yeah, but Liam is like, you can't leave now. You're Drive Shaft. Like, this is you.
So we cut back to the jungle. Charlie runs from the boar, who runs into a net trap that Locke set. And Charlie is not amused because Charlie wants his Parmesan cheese really bad. He's dying for them drugs, and he lets Locke know that he wants the drugs. He tells him that he's sick, and Locke tells him that he'll give him the drugs after Charlie asks 3 times.
Right.
It should be Charlie's choice, and choice is what separates us from animals.
Oh. Wait, is that something that he actually says?
Well, he sort of motions to the boar, and he says that's the difference between us and the boar. Yeah.
Man, Locke is wise.
Yeah, he's quite wise. Back on the beach, this is where we hear Saeed talking about creating 3 antennas and triangulating the source of the transmission.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't understand how that works, but okay.
No, it's very Radio Shack. Radio Shack.
You didn't work at Radio Shack, Pat?
I did work at Radio Shack.
Okay, I thought you did. I was like, I feel like you worked at Radio Shack. You don't know this? Come on.
I did, but we never talked about triangulating sources of any sort of French transmissions.
Oh, what's the point then?
I know. That would have been a really nice perk. Basically, their idea is they're going to try to triangulate the source of the transmission of the French lady, and they're going to communicate with bottle rockets when they're in their position so that they can use a laptop battery with Saeed's little Radio Shack contraption and able to figure out where this thing is coming from, right?
Yeah. If anyone who has triangulated transmissions before can just let us know what that means. I understand you form a triangle, ergo triangulate, but I don't understand how they can find the signal.
Isn't that something they do with, don't they do that with cell towers if somebody's missing? Can't they triangulate a position by using cell towers? Because if it's pinging this cell tower and also this one, and then this one less, then they can be like, oh, well, they're closer to this one and this one, but not that one. So they start to figure out.
Yeah, so that does make sense, but I feel like they would have to have explored more of the island.
Yeah, I don't think it's sound science. I think it's just enough so that they can let you know that sound.
It is sound science.
It is sound
They're
science.
trying to find sound.
Right.
The source of a sound. So it is sound science.
Sound science. Correct. That's why I said
I'll ask my dad. Maybe he knows. He does stuff with cell towers.
Oh, yeah. Ask him.
Yeah.
So he needs a laptop battery in order to do this. So Kate goes to Sawyer for a laptop battery. Of course, he's dismissive and plays around with her as Sawyer does. Mm-hmm. Kate says that she pities him, and she starts to dig in hard to him. And then he's like, all right, here's a battery.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, all right, here you go.
Yeah.
Go away now.
He's like, all you had to do was say please. So he gives her one. So he is helpful. It's just he's just kind of a jerk about things.
Yeah, but, it's kind of nice to be in power a little bit with his hoard of supplies.
Yes, he does have
guess.
a hoard for sure. So Jack, Charlie, and Hurley unpack at the caves at night. Jack's bag blasts open, and Charlie starts rifling through all of his meds, and he tries snagging his diazepam, and he's like, I have a headache. And, of course, Jack's, like, kind of shooing Charlie away. He's like, I don't know. He's like, you don't need diazepam. Like, go, get out of here.
Yeah.
Charlie picks up his guitar, and then we get a church bell, and we're back into a flashback.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Have we seen the part? Some of my notes are not super specific because it's usually I'm just writing down the reactions that I have.
Okay.
So I'm not totally sure where things fall.
Right.
So have we seen Sun and what are we calling him? Sunboo? Sunbae?
Yeah, right after
no,
this.
Sunboo. Okay, that happens after this. All right, cool.
Right after this.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Tight.
So we get back into a flashback with Liam and Charlie, and they're outside the church at this point, and they're talking about whether they should do the band or not. And they agree that they'll do it, but if things get out of control, they walk away. And they're like,
so that's
what it's
when
gonna be.
Liam says, like, you're gotta do this. You're the band. Like, this is you, right?
Yep.
That's kind of when he's talking up Charlie.
Yep, totally. So now we're back in, I think it's at the caves, and Sunboo washes his wrists in the cave water and tells Sun that she's indecent in her tank top. Is that what you were
she's
thinking
like,
about?
yeah, she's like, it's hot.
Yeah.
So I was like,
he's
yeah,
like-
I wrote, yeah, Sun, standing up for yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's hot. Wear a tank top. Who cares?
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. So Charlie approaches Jack and he yells at him. Jack tells him that he isn't himself at that point because I think Jack sort of knows that Charlie's jonesing. This looks like a classic example.
jonesing behavior. And of
Yeah,
course, he knows
jonesing
everything
for
about
druggies.
all medical fields, as we have
He
discovered.
knows everything about everything, even plane crashes and
Yeah.
all sorts of things. Yeah, he's a real know-it-all, this Jack.
He knows about forensics.
Forensics,
and how
yep.
long it takes bodies and clothes to decay.
Right. Yeah,
And
he knows it all.
He knows about withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
Doing stuff with spines and frangy bits. What was the thing that he said fell out?
Frangy bits?
Yeah,
What's
like,
that mean? Frangy bits?
yeah,
Was that even English? Frangy? How would you spell frangy?
FRONGIE or Y. I could take either
Okay.
one. Frangy bits.
Okay, frangy bits. Frangy
Like-
bits.
Okay, when
Okay.
first episode when he's talking to Kate about the surgery that he was doing on someone's spine and the something was sliding out and there was frangy bits everywhere. The
Frangy bits.
frangy bits.
Sure, yeah, makes sense now.
It's very British, okay? I'm just
Okay.
being very Giles.
Okay. Yes, he would totally say frangy bits. That's where you got it.
Yeah.
Charlie approaches Jackie, yells at him, and then he says, "You don't know me. I'm a bloody rock god." And of course, this is what causes the cave to collapse onto Jack.
Oh, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. So Hurley sends Charlie to get help at this point. Kate and Saeed hike through the jungle and talk about the plane crash. And they say no one is that lucky.
Yeah.
We should have died.
Yeah, so finally they're talking about this because this is something that I've brought up and I'm like, this is crazy. So I like that. I feel like it took a while to get to this point. Same thing with tracking down the transmission, but at least they're finally talking about these things.
Right.
And I feel like Saeed is sort of most definitely the brains, I mean, obviously I guess Jack is brains in one way and Locke is brains in another way, but Saeed is let's track down this stuff, let's think about things analytically and the logistics of stuff, and so he's one
more
bringing up-
scientific.
So I'm glad that these
They're
two
finally
things
talking about it.
are finally being addressed. I also,
Yeah.
in my notes, wrote, ain't no way Jack dies this early. So I was like, even at the point of like the cave in, I'm like, he's not going to die here.
No.
If they
most
didn't
likely
kill him
not.
off first episode, he's not going to die here.
Right. So we're back on the beach. Charlie tells Michael about the cave collapsing, and we see two randos. This was kind of
Yeah.
fun. We see two guys, just Scott and Steve, and they're like, "What's your name, Scott and Steve? All right, you guys come
And
with
he's
me."
like, no, I'm Scott. I'm Steve, whatever.
Right.
They kept
It's like,
saying.
what is this? It's like, we're never going to see these
Come
guys
on.
again.
Come on,
What
guys.
is this? Two randos. And then Boone tries explaining the bottle rocket thing to Shannon because he's like, I'm going to go help at the caves. Like, here, you do the bottle rocket and then turn on the thing to transmit it. I'm like, this isn't going to go.
Oh, I know.
well
I
at
felt the
this
same
point.
way. I was like, don't put Shannon in charge of this.
Yeah,
This
she's
is
like, I
fucking
do
important.
what? Yeah, she's like, I don't know. What do I do again? She was very aloof. Mm-hmm. Sawyer takes his shirt off, or he got his shirt off. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, you were like, yeah, as in like,
I was like, yeah.
like,
Yeah, he's got his shirt off. It's hot.
oh, okay.
It's
You're
hot.
into that.
No, I'm saying like it's hot out.
Oh,
Like in the jungle.
sure.
Like, yeah, you got to take off your shirt because it's hot out.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
So who? Okay, so let's talk about this really quick.
All right.
Who would you rather see shirtless, Angel or Sawyer?
Angel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just had to ask. Obviously that's the correct answer, but I
Okay.
had to ask.
I passed the test. Although I think Sawyer's got a better tan. Angel's a little pale.
Well, comes with the territory,
Yeah, for sure, if you live in basements.
and can't go out into the sun.
Flashback to Drive Shaft concert. You all, everybody.
Yeah, so we
They
get
are
a few
singing.
more lyrics.
Yeah, we get a little bit.
Not
But,
that much though.
Liam sings Charlie's chorus part, which Charlie gets very
He is not
visibly
happy.
concerned.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he's not happy.
pissed.
They leave stage. Charlie's just brooding, just kind of staring holes into Liam's
Oh,
back
yeah.
for sure. And
Yep.
Liam's going full rock star. And Liam starts getting into drugs, and Charlie sees it from afar. Mm-hmm. And then he says, "Chill, baby brother."
Brava.
At the caves, the group try to figure out how to get Jack out. He's stuck inside. They start digging. They're doing it sort of in shifts, and they're removing rocks. They
so-
created like a little train.
Yeah, this is kind of cool because this is where Michael kind of comes in and really shines. So,
Yeah.
we're starting to, again, we're starting to get people's, not only their personalities, but learning a little bit more about little like tidbits of their past lives by how they're contributing to the island. So
Right, their strengths also.
yeah, so Michael is like, oh, I worked construction. Like, don't dig in this area. Like, dig here, and like, let's do it in shifts so that we're not like wearing ourselves out. So
Right.
I that was really kind of nice for me to see Michael kind of like take charge because he really hasn't been in a situation where he's taken charge that much yet. So
Yeah.
That was
Yep,
kinda
he
nice.
proved useful for the cave digging for sure.
yeah, and I think his son was impressed too. Walt seemed to be like, oh, cool. I mean,
Yeah,
like
my
he's
dad's doing something.
so far he's kind of like not super stoked about his dad.
Right.
So
Sawyer shows up to Kate and Saeed,
Mm-hmm.
who are hiking, and Kate doesn't want to hear it from him. She jumps all over him. She's like, "What makes you think I want to hear anything from you?" Sawyer was going to tell them about the cave collapse.
no, he wasn't. He was never gonna fucking.
I
tell
think he
them.
was going to. I think he
don't
was going to
know.
tell them. And then when she jumped at him like that, he's like, "You know what? I'm just going to keep being the same dirtbag that I always am because that's what people expect of me."
No, so you had a little more faith in him.
I did because I felt like he was
That's
there
nice.
for a more positive reason.
Yeah.
And then when she jumped at him like that, he sort of
he
backed
was
down.
like,
and was
all right,
like,
fuck you.
yeah, he's like, "Fine, I'm not even going to tell you."
Yeah.
So,
Still a dick move, but
oh, definitely. But I also feel like if you don't give people the room to grow and you're just always going to label them as whatever, they're never going to grow. Am I
no,
right?
I 100% agree with you. And also, hold on to your shorts, Pat, because here I'm going to defend Sawyer a little bit. But I'm not really defending him, but I guess like I was thinking about this and I'm like, if he told her right now, they might not have been able to complete their mission.
Right. The mission would have been aborted
Right.
or at least delayed.
Yeah. So not that he did it for those reasons. Like he wasn't like, if I tell her, she's going to go running off and this could be a problem here. I mean, and as we later learn, that's not really. Anyway, so I did think about that. It's not really defending Sawyer. But
No, it's not.
I was like,
But that's okay.
if I were Sawyer, which I never would be because he's basically the complete opposite of everything that I am. But at least as I know of him right now. But if I were in his position, I would use like, okay, let her be angry at me, let her get out all of her frustration, and then be like, okay, well, you want to know why I came here? I came here to tell you this. Boom. And then it's like, yeah, fuck you. Who's the asshole now? You're the one who's just screaming at me. And I actually came here to do a good deed. So
yeah,
he could have done that.
He could have done that.
And I think that still would have made him a good person, you know? Like that still would have made him a better person than what Kate was sort of like charging him with or implying by yelling at him.
That probably would have been a better tactic.
Yeah.
Sawyer's also, I don't know if he's got that programming.
Yeah.
He just goes to the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So Locke skins the boar. Charlie shows up and he tells Locke about the cave-in, and Locke, I thought Locke seemed a little unfazed at this. He's just like, okay, the cave fell.
What do you want me to do? I got this fucking boar here. I'm skinning him. What do you want me to do, buddy?
And Charlie says, I want my stash, Locke. I can't stand feeling like this. And then Locke's basically just like, that's number 2. You asked me twice.
Yeah.
And then Locke brings Charlie over to a moth cocoon.
Yes.
And he tells him all about the moth and how it's about to emerge, and he could help it with his knife. And he can make it so that the cocoon was easier to get out of. But that would weaken the moth. You see, nature has a way of strengthening things, Charlie. These aren't exact quotes, but they're pretty close.
Yeah, so the struggle is nature's way of strengthening it. That's what Locke says.
Okay, pretty close.
Yeah. No, I really love this because I recently learned, like, so butterflies have the same, go through the same thing where they kind of have to break through a little bit, and they basically beat their wings until they can like break out, and that's how their wings become stronger.
Right.
And my Nana, who passed away when I was 11, always called me an iron butterfly. And it wasn't like, I've never been like super into butterflies or anything, but it was just kind of like her nickname for me. But until I recently learned that butterflies go through the same thing, and like it's the struggle that makes them strong, I was kind of like, oh, I guess she was like more right about that than she probably could have ever known, because I've had to deal with a lot of shit in my life, but it's made me stronger. And so that's exactly what, you know, Locke is saying about the moth and relaying that to Charlie.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I thought it was a nice moment.
Yeah.
Kate, Sawyer, and Saeed, they're on top of the hill, and they're planting an antenna. And Saeed is worried about leaving Sawyer with Kate at this point.
Right.
Because Saeed has to move to the next area.
Yeah.
And then Kate just reassures him. She's like, I can handle him.
Yeah.
She seems very, like, not afraid of Sawyer at this point. At the caves, Charlie volunteers to go into the cave and help save Jack at this point. You know, he basically looks around and he's like, all of you, you know, if you die, you know, you're leaving people behind.
Right.
He's like, I don't have anybody, so I might as well just go through with it. And he's probably feeling like at that point, like he doesn't have his drugs, like he's feeling pretty low. Like this is the one thing he can do that's a little positive.
Yeah,
and
because he's felt pretty useless. Like basically, people have spent this entire episode without them really realizing what they were doing to him, but pretty much telling him like, you're not needed here. You're not like useful.
Casting him aside.
Yeah, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. So he volunteers to go in. So now we cut back to Kate with Sawyer, and she's actually kind of friendly with him here, which I was like, this is interesting, because when she's like alone on top of a mountain with Sawyer, she's a little friendly with him. She's like, they like make a little joke together.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that she is a little intimidated by him, because if we remember the last time she kind of tussled with him, you know, she kind of like threw herself and like pinned him down when they were tracking down the water. And then he
Right.
like flipped her over.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like even though she's like tough and she thinks that she can handle him, like physically, if he really wanted to like take her, he could. So I think it was
Sure.
probably good for her to kind of like ease up that tension a bit.
Keep it light.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he asks her about why she likes Jack. He's like, ladies dig the doctor. He purposely lets it slip that Jack got buried in the cave. Like he tells her, and she gets real mad.
Yeah.
She's not happy, and she runs away. At the caves, they give Charlie a flashlight, and he starts crawling through the cave. And I don't think the cave starts to crumble at this point. I think that's a little bit later. But we do get a flashback, and we're in the drive shaft green room. I think it's after a show or before a show, either or. And
I think it's right before, because this is when Charlie's yelling at his brothers like, you didn't show up to like sound check, and
Yeah,
you
he
didn't
missed
show
sound
up to
check.
this, and
Right.
now we've got a show. And he's like, oh, we got a show. Also, I fucking love Charlie's hair here. He's like,
I
he's
didn't
got
even
like
notice.
he's got like reddish highlights, and then I wrote back like, or is it pink? Because it's like
Funny.
I think it's like a faded kind of red. I don't know. His hair looks really cool to me.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of hot chicks in the green room. And Liam missed sound check because Liam's on the drugs.
He's doing the drugs.
He's doing the drugs. They fight. Liam is mean to Charlie. And then Liam stumbles off in a stupor, and he says, piss off!
Yep.
And this is what makes Charlie get into drugs. This is where he picks up the Parmesan cheese baggie, and he starts getting into the drugs.
Well, because this is when Liam is like, you're not drive shaft, I'm drive shaft.
Yeah, that didn't help.
That is not what Charlie needed to hear.
No, because Charlie was the one who was not into the stuff before, but now he's into it.
God damn
So-
it, Liam.
Back in the cave tunnel, and the cave starts rumbling again, but he makes it into where Jack is. It's like sort of a cavern. And he tells him that he's here to rescue him. Charlie gets Jack unburied, but Jack's shoulder's dislocated, and he asks Charlie to pop it back in.
I
Gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
know, but boy, that's rough.
If I had my arm dislocated, I would just be like, that arm's dead.
It's dead to me.
Yeah, where's Locke? Have him cut it off.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you'd regret that.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's smarter to just pop it back in.
Definitely
but
smarter.
it would take a lot of guts to pop it back in.
I'm
I
trying
mean, I
to
could do it. I'm super tough.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I would rather be the person whose arm is dislocated and needs to, and like, but there's a doctor there to help me pop it back into place, or would I rather be the one helping the doctor? I'm not really sure which is worse, honestly.
It's a coin
Which is
flip
like more
situation.
terrifying to me.
Yeah. So he pops it back in. Flashback again. Charlie visits Liam and Sydney, and this is sometime later, it seems, after Drive Shaft has been through it, because Liam has a family. He's living in a nice little suburban area.
Yeah,
and
well,
Charlie,
and Charlie is wearing the same outfit that he was wearing
Yeah.
at the beginning of the crash, which I noticed.
right. So it's very close to the time because they're in Sydney at this point. Mm-hmm. So Charlie wants Liam to gig with him on the road again. He's like, this is our comeback. And Liam doesn't want to come back. You know, he's found a family. He's off the drugs. Like, Charlie's
He's
the one
found
that's kind
God.
of messed up now. He found God. So this is where we sort of find out that Charlie is now all messed up on drugs and Liam has his life together.
Yeah.
And Charlie yells at him. He says, it was about the music, Liam. You took that away from me. So Charlie starts blaming Liam for the drug problem and for, Drive Shaft not working out, basically. So Liam tries to get him into rehab or to convince him to go into rehab, and Charlie walks away in slow motion again. He says, I have a plane to catch. So that's when we know for sure that this is the plane that brought him to the island. Mm-hmm. Back in the cave, Jack questions Charlie about using drugs and how long it's been. Charlie's honest with him. He says, you're not useless, or Jack tells him that he's not useless because Charlie actually crawled all the way in. He's doing something.
Yeah.
So, of course, Jack is a know-it-all again about oxygen within the cave.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
we only got about like a couple hours or something like that. Like he does some math. And then Charlie sees a moth and he's like, oh, there's a moth. There's a moth. I can see light. And he starts following the moth and they climb out of the cave. Of course, when they come back to the other side of the cave, the group is there. Walt mentions, hey, it's the doctor. But he doesn't say anything about Charlie.
Yeah.
If I was Charlie, I'd be like, hey, what the heck? What about me?
Come on, man.
Come on, dude.
Drive shaft.
Yeah, drive shaft. We're still doing things. So Charlie gets all the credit of helping. Makes him feel good. Feels good, man.
I forget what it is that Hurley says something to him that's really cute.
Yeah, he's like,
like,
you did it.
Nice job, man. I don't know. I forget what he
Yeah,
says, but it's
something really positive.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was nice. That's what Charlie needed.
Saeed lets off his firework. Shannon lets off hers.
I was so
Kate's
proud.
goes off. I know. It's like, Shannon, you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job,
Saeed-
Shannon.
Saeed turns on his little doodad and picks up a signal, and then whack, he gets hit over the head and he passes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Yeah, what's going on there, huh?
At first I was like, is this Sawyer? But I feel like he was pretty far. So Sawyer
Right,
would
that's
have had
what I thought too.
like run pretty far.
Yeah. I wonder who
And
it is.
I don't know
Who
what
did
his
it?
motive would be. But yeah, I wrote in all caps, OMG, who hit Saeed?
So back at the caves at night, Hurley asks about Charlie's condition because Charlie doesn't look well. He's kind of he's white knuckling. He's sweating. He looks quite sick.
Yeah.
And Jack covers
says
for
he's
him.
got the flu.
Hey, it's the flu. And Charlie wants to stretch his legs. Yeah, he ends up going to Locke at the end. But first, we go to Kate, who makes a T-shirt sling for Jack's shoulder. Very cute.
Oh, and I don't even think you said that she shows up to like start. She's like furiously trying to dig
digging.
out Jack. Yeah, before
she
they
starts
get out.
digging.
She's
Right,
like
she wants to
really
get Jack
panicking.
out.
But then when
Yep.
they're out, it's like, oh, hey,
She's like, oh, hi, I was just hanging out.
just had this
And I made a
picture
little
in
sling
my
for
pack.
you. Yeah, I got you another picture. It's wallet-sized.
They had glamour shots. on
Yeah,
the
it's my
island.
8x10 too here, and I put it in a frame that I found in the luggage, and it's for you.
And if you find a laptop, I can just like make it your desktop wallpaper if you want.
And Saeed's like, no, if there's any laptops, I need the batteries.
There will be no functioning laptops on this island.
Yeah, and she's
We are
like, "Okay,
off the
fine."
grid, people.
And then she just makes like a little nod to Jack, like, I can make it. I can make the laptop.
I got a secret one.
Yeah.
Just come back to the beach with me.
Yeah, we'll meet over by the cave water over there. I'll bring my laptop. They have a moment by the fire, and she brings him a T-shirt sling, and they share a little tender moment by the fire. They always have a little tender moment every episode, I feel like. They fight a little bit, they're coy, they flirt a little bit, they have a tender moment.
This is
and then they're like,
exactly
"Are we
the
gonna
kind of
talk
shit
about
that TV shows
something?"
do to you.
yeah, no, we're not going to talk about something, blah,
The
blah,
will
blah.
they, won't they. That's why I like Buffy doesn't really have that many. Like, there's not like a whole lot of will they, won't they. Like, that stuff is usually resolved pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised that her and Angel like really like smooshed faces that hard in that episode.
Yeah,
I thought
like
it
it
was
wasn't
going
gonna
to
be
be
dragged
the whole
out.
Episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be like, well, you sleep on the floor. Okay, fine, I'll sleep on the floor, and like it's just going to be like we're going to get really close, but nothing's going to happen. But no, they made out hard twice.
Oh, yeah. And that, like, that's just one thing I can't. Like, of course, shows are going to do that to you.
Yeah.
And they're going to drag it out. Like, I've been rewatching The New Girl. And of course, like, they do that with like pretty much every character, I feel like. And it's
Yeah.
just so annoying because you're like, I know eventually you're going to get together. Just do it now and don't bring me through this agony. But that's what gets people watching for longer, I guess.
You got to have that tension.
So that's
You gotta
what we're
have the
going to that's
tension.
what we're going to do here with, with Jack and Kate.
They have their moment by the fire. Charlie approaches Locke, and he asks Locke for the drugs. And he's like, this is the third time. And he said, I've made my choice. And Locke gives the drugs to Charlie. Charlie drops him in the fire.
Yeah, which I knew he was going to do that. I had faith in him.
Yeah. Locke is
believe
proud
in
of him. He said, I always knew you could do it. And Charlie looks up
So beautiful.
and sees a moth fly into the sky, and the music swells.
Oh my god.
And that's
So
the end of the episode.
cheesy. It's just so fucking cheesy.
I know. It was pretty on the nose, the whole moth thing, and then the cave, and then him crawling into the cave, and he had to crawl out of the top of the cave like a moth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
But again, it's also poetry. It's also beautiful.
Poetry. These 2 episodes, so poetic.
So poetic, but also very on the nose.
It's just really funny that, like, I don't know. It's just funny to me that you like this show so much, and there's so many moments of just like barf cheesy.
What are you talking about? Barf
I mean, like,
cheesiness. This
and
is
I-
great. The music,
I am a
when it
girl
swells,
who likes
it's so
romantic
good.
things and, like, whatever.
Sure.
I'm typical in that way, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But there are just like, oh my god, every episode is like fucking, we're by a fire, we're kumbayaing, there's music swelling, it's beautiful, there's fucking moths in the air. It's like, come on.
You gotta have. There's a lot of ups and downs. Okay, there's some tragedy, right? There's a lot of backstory and strife and drug addiction, and then there's also just like skinning boars and triangulating antennas. And
I know, but
also
just like
moths.
Come on, every episode cannot end this way.
Not every episode ends like that. There's
Like,
going to be a lot of cliffhangers.
I want
This
an
was
episode,
another
I
non-cliffhanger
want an episode that just ends with, Locke just skinning a boar. Just like, that's it. That's the last thing that we see. There's no music swelling. There's no like,
Nah,
let's sit
you
by
gotta
a
keep-
fire and talk about our feelings, but not really talk about our feelings, but like be coy about our feelings. I just want to see Locke like over in the corner being like, just
No, you
prepping
got to keep
tomorrow's
the audience
dinner.
interested. You got to like zoom into Locke's eye and be like, what's going on here? So you'd be like, I can't wait to see next week because something's going to happen,
Because
even though
he's looked into the eye of the island.
right,
It's
eye of the island.
eye of the island, and he's skinning a boar with the eye of the island.
So, anyways, I got some trivia for this show.
I have a piece of trivia. If
Oh,
you don't
okay.
get to it, I'm going to get to it, and your mind is going to be blown.
All right, let's see if I get to it.
Yeah.
When Charlie snorts heroin,
Okay.
Dominic Monaghan is actually snorting brown sugar.
Oh, brown sugar.
Neil Hopkins, who
He's
plays
actually... What happens? What... Ugh.
yeah,
I just,
it was like
what happens to you when you do that?
when you snort brown sugar.
Yeah.
I'm sure it just goes down the back of your throat, right? And
Doesn't give you a little tinglies or anything?
I mean, it might give you a sugar rush.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a way to ingest sugar.
I don't know if I could snort anything up my nose.
I don't think I could either. I gotta.
think I have a hard time
I'm
doing
always like I always got sinus infections, so I can't
Yeah,
even do
it
a
wouldn't be
neti
good
pot.
for-
No thanks.
Yeah. Neil Hopkins, who plays Charlie's brother Liam, is actually younger than actor Dominic Monaghan.
I was wondering that, and I almost looked it up, but I'm afraid to look up anything like that.
Yeah,
but
don't
I was
look
like,
up
I bet
anything.
I bet you he's younger because he definitely
Yep,
looked
he's
younger.
younger. That's what I thought too. He's also American. Was part of the trivia. Yeah. When Charlie leaves the confession room, his brother Liam says, "And the meek shall inherit the earth," which is a clear homage to the famous Rush album 2112. I don't know Rush. I don't know music. But I just thought I'd throw it out there for any Rush fans.
Is it a reference to a song?
No, just
It
the
sounds
album.
more like a biblical reference.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what the album 2112 is. I don't
It's
know.
Matthew 5:5.
Oh. Wow, how'd you find that?
I just Googled, and the meek shall inherit the earth.
Oh,
Whoa,
there
what?
you go. What?
Matthew 5:5, Wikipedia. J. Paul Getty once quoted, "The meek shall inherit the earth, but not the mineral rights used in the lost episode The Moth." Damn, that's number one.
Wow, that's
Fifth
wild.
chapter of the Gospel of Matthew in the New Testament.
Look at that.
Blessed are the
Nice.
meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Just sounded like a Bible thing.
What's your trivia piece? That's all I have.
Oh, Pat.
What do you got?
Oh,
What do you
Pat, just hold on to those shorts again, Pat.
got? I'm holding.
Okay,
He's about to
because
blow 'em off. Blow 'em off.
get
No.
ready for this. After Charlie climbs through the newly dug tunnel, he says to
Yeah.
Jack, "I'm here to rescue you," which is a reference to Luke
Terminator.
Skywalker saying the same thing to Princess Leia when he found her in the Death Star in A New Hope, Episode 4. Boom!
What the
Mind
hell?
fucking blown. How did
How'd
I
you
make a
get
Star
that?
Wars reference and not you?
I am very embarrassed.
You should
This
be.
is an embarrassing moment in podcast history.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe this has happened.
Guess who's on top this episode, my friend? This girl.
I have questions. How did you know the reference?
I think it came up when I was looking at quotes.
Okay. So you found it.
It doesn't matter how I found it, okay?
Well, it makes me feel a little better. At least you didn't just think about it.
No, I mean,
Okay.
because I feel like that probably happens in millions of movies and TV shows. I'm here to rescue you.
Right.
Who
When
knows
Luke
if they were actually like making a reference to that scene, but
Right. No, I think it is a direct reference because Luke Skywalker finds Princess Leia and he pulls off the stormtrooper helmet and he says, "I'm here to rescue you." Mm-hmm. So it's got to be.
gotta be.
It's got to be. Okay.
You're welcome,
All
Pat.
right. You bested me with that trivia. Great job. Way better than my Rush album trivia. Okay. Should we get into favorite moments
Yeah.
or predictions?
What's your favorite moment of Buffy?
What's your favorite moment of Lost?
We're going alphabetical.
Oh, okay. Okay. Favorite moment of Buffy is definitely the jump scare when we see Darla's scary face in the window, because that actually made me jump.
Really?
And I was expecting it. I was like, oh, I bet we're going to see her face in the window. It
Oh,
got me.
it's her vamp face.
Yeah, it's a vamp face. Yeah, I totally was expecting it, and it got me anyways, which is a good jump scare.
That's cute. My favorite, I feel like unsurprisingly, is the Buffy angel kiss at the end.
Because it's just
'Cause
so
it's just beautiful.
deep.
It's so
so
poetic.
smooshy.
Ugh.
And then
the
the
cross
burn in the chest.
Oh my god. Ermagerd. It's just beautiful.
Ermagerd.
I just love it. No,
I
I just
knew you were
really
gonna
I
love
just
that.
really love this episode because we get a whole episode to focus on one character, and like, you know, we get basically his whole backstory in this one episode, and I
Yeah.
don't really feel like it's done in a forced way. Like I feel like it all comes out very naturally. Yeah, I just really like that.
Yeah. These kisses were pretty hardcore for WB.
They were. Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
Phew.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
What's your favorite moment of Lost?
Charlie saving Jack. But I also
Really?
really loved the confessional scene.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, no, I really liked that moment of Charlie rushing in there, doing a good thing, redeeming himself, feeling useful again. Yeah, I really liked that moment.
I wasn't really into the cave stuff that much. Probably because it was kind of anticlimactic for me. I was just like,
Yeah.
Like, you sort of know how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's just a waste of time at that point. I'm like, okay. Like, it doesn't feel like real drama to me. So I was sort of less into the cave stuff. I was into Charlie jonesing, and I was into the interaction with Locke when he shows him the moth cocoon. So that's going to be my favorite moment.
Yeah. I really like the Charlie Locke relationship.
Yeah, they've had a lot of time together in the past couple of episodes.
Yeah. So which episode wins?
I mean, I know which one wins for you. Obviously, you love the Angel episode. I'll probably have to give it to the Angel episode as well, just because the cave stuff, we don't get some of the lore that I usually like in the Lost episodes and some of the mystery.
Yeah, I mean,
I do
even-
like Charlie's backstory though. But
Yeah.
just like just the stuff that's happening on the island is very blasé.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I obviously really love Charlie, so I definitely like learning more about him, but I felt the same way about the caves and his struggle with drugs. Like, eventually he's going to run out on this island, so whether he runs out or he quits now, he's going to have to quit. So
Yeah,
might
at
as
some
well
point.
do it now. So I was like, he's not, he might ask for the drugs back, but he's going to get rid of them. So he's not going to actually like keep using drugs after this episode. And I knew Jack wasn't going to die. So it was pretty anticlimactic for me, but yes, definitely love this episode of Buffy. It's, like I said, it's my favorite from this season. And yeah, maybe it's because I think vampires are sexy. And a vampire with a soul is like right up my alley. There. I said it. I said it.
Okay? All right, fine. So sue me.
Throw me in a blood well. No, don't do that. That sounds terrifying.
No, you would love it.
All right. What do you think will happen next on Buffy?
So I think Angel comes back, but not often, considering he gets his own spinoff. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's gonna guest star every once in a while. He'll come back, just to kind of
are you
lure
gonna
in.
Do you think that's gonna happen like at the end of the season, or do you want to make a prediction about that?
Yeah, he'll come back at the end of the season. I'll say that.
No, I meant the spinoff. Like, do you want to guess when that's gonna happen?
Oh, I don't know
no?
when the spinoff happens.
Okay.
I have no idea. Another prediction, Colin Mini-Me becomes more annoying, and perhaps he will be the season finale bad guy. Instead of the Master fighting himself.
The Master fights himself?
No, I mean instead of Master himself fighting Buffy.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be his little Mini-Me, Colin, with the auto-tuned voice.
So he's the big little bad. Is what you're guessing.
Yeah, big little bad. Yeah, tiny bad. He's the tiny bad. And this was a prediction, but now because of your poker face, I think I've backed down a little bit. But I did write Giles and Buffy's mom go on a few dates, but it just doesn't work out. It's too weird, and Buffy doesn't like it.
You still think that's going to happen, or now you don't think that's... What's your prediction then?
I'm going to stick with it. It's going to happen. So Buffy's mom and Giles, they awkwardly go on a few dates somehow, and they think it might work out, but it just doesn't. And Buffy is never a fan of it, and she thinks it's weird and awkward, and don't do it, Mom. He's my librarian.
Okay, I'm just going to shorten that to Giles and Buffy's mom awkwardly go on a few dates, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the slug line for that.
And Buffy doesn't like it. I have no idea what to predict next on Lost.
You've no predictions?
I gotta think about... Well, there's obviously going to be a backstory next. So I feel like every episode, I gotta try and guess whose backstory is going to be next. I really want it to be Michael and Walt, but I just...
Well, it's not going to be the Moth, because remember you had the theory that whatever we end on for a shot, we get their backstory.
Yeah,
next.
that theory held for like a couple of episodes at the beginning and then never held again.
Yeah.
It worked for, I think, that one that I was like, well, in these last two episodes, this happened and then, but I don't think it held up.
It totally did work. No.
I don't think it held up after that. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be Michael and Waltz. I feel like we're going to get Saeed or Sawyer next.
Okay.
That's my prediction for backstory. I feel like, man, I guess the other really big thing, obviously, that happens is Saeed. I don't think Saeed is dead. I think he's just knocked out. And I don't think that anyone in the rest of their flight has any reason to want to knock him out, unless it's purely based on race, which would be unfortunate.
So you think it's a new character?
I think it's
which
gonna.
we haven't seen.
I think it's gonna be.
Could it be
the French lady?
Steve? Steve and
Fucking Steve and Scott.
Steve and Scott.
They're
It
like,
could
you
be
know
Steve and
what?
Scott.
We're sick of being background characters.
Yeah, well, we have names, Steve and Scott.
I know how to work a transmission triangulation.
Yeah. Okay, those are good predictions.
Yeah. And my Claire baby countdown is 2 more episodes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we got to keep track of that one because we haven't even seen her in 2 episodes, so
We didn't
she
see
could
her
be
last
laboring
episode?
for all that we know. No, we didn't see her last episode either. Not even one bit.
I really want her backstory.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about anybody else. I just want to see Claire's backstory at this point.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Anything else we need to cover?
Anything else you're listening to, watching, or reading?
Oh, we rewatched Wall-E today. It was
Wall-E.
It was my daughter's birthday, and she loves movies, so we let her pick out a movie, and she picked Wall-E.
Good choice,
And-
Lila.
Yeah, she loved it too.
I
At the
watched
end,
that
she said, I
after-
really liked that movie. That and I think that's. Oh, we started a new show.
Oh, what are you watching?
We started a show on Netflix called The King's Gambit.
Oh, The Queen's Gambit?
Queen's Gambit. I thought it was The King's.
I'm pretty sure it's
Is it
the
the
Queen's.
Queen's?
It's definitely the Queen's Gambit.
You sure?
Pat, come on. Every time you challenge me about stuff, I'm always
Can you just
right.
Goo it real
Yeah,
quick?
I will. And it's
Okay.
100% the Queen's Gambit.
Okay, so I'm watching The Queen's Gambit, and we
Yeah,
got through
you're
one
not watching the
episode,
King's Gambit. Maybe that's next.
Okay, that could be the follow-up.
That's a spin-off.
Spin-off, and then there's a Pawn's Gambit and a Knight's Gambit. So yeah, we're watching The Queen's Gambit.
I
And
keep
we-
seeing that advertised, but I don't know anything
We
about
had no idea
chess.
what it was. Somebody just said like, "Oh, it's good," and chess is fine, whatever. So we were like, oh, "Let's check this out." We didn't know what to expect. And
No, it's not checkers, it's chess. Let's
Yeah, I said
chess
chess.
this out.
Oh,
Sorry, it's late.
so I recommend it. I would recommend you check it out.
Do you play chess? Do you know anything about chess?
Oh yeah, I learned it in first grade. Played it a lot.
What? Really? In first grade?
That was a big part of the curriculum for some reason.
You learned it in school? Are you fucking with me?
No, I swear to you, in first grade, I was in Vermont, and a big part of the curriculum was playing chess. Like, I swear we played chess 3 to 4 times a week, like, in class.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was, like, a huge part of first grade. I remember reading Dr. Seuss books and playing chess a lot.
God, that's like
Yeah.
mind-blowing to me. I mean, I think that's amazing because obviously it teaches you like critical thinking and problem solving. I never learned chess, and at this point in my life, there's no fucking way that I could learn chess and keep all the rules
What
straight.
are you talking about? You could totally learn
No,
chess.
my
I learned
dad
as
played
a
a lot.
6-year-old.
Yeah, and my brain is, fully developed now.
Mush.
It's full of Buffy history and trivia, Harry Potter. So like, all the stuff
They play
that
chess and Harry Potter. These things work
Wizard's
together.
chess.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Oh, so
It's just big giant version of chess that comes alive.
yeah, wizard chess. That's what that is.
Right.
But it's
Yeah,
not.
it's the same thing.
It's not always giant. They have normal size pieces. It's just that
Okay.
the pieces come alive and smash each
All
other
I'm trying
up.
to say is that you could play chess.
I don't think
could
at
totally
this
learn
point
it.
I could. I think there's too
You
many
could.
rules. I think when I was younger and still developing and there was more space in my brain probably, but my brain's too full now. I can't
Well, with
absorb
that
all
attitude.
All right. Well,
All right.
maybe you can teach me how to play chess. Maybe Dave. I
Okay.
bet Dave knows. I'll have to ask him.
What have you been watching, reading, listening to?
Well, we watched The Machinist for Movie Club.
Oh, yes,
which
for Movie Club.
neither you or I were really big fans of. You still gave it a
Yeah.
6.8, I think.
I liked parts of it. I liked the music, and I liked some of the characters. But overall, just
liked
kind
the
of
lighting.
middle of the road.
And then I've just been watching. I've been having a lot of anxiety lately.
Me too.
So, oh,
Is
cool.
Mercury in retrograde?
It's not actually. It was up until election day. So
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I thought so too, because I've been dropping a lot of things and having a lot of anxiety. Which
Dropsies.
is, yeah. But so that's why I started watching The New Girl again, because I was like, I just need something silly and fun to watch when like Dave's not around and I'm panicking about life.
Who's that girl? It's
That
Jess.
girl, it's Jess. Yeah. Zoe Deschanel is adorable, but I mostly love all of the guys.
Yeah.
I like them much more.
That is a really funny show. I've seen a lot of the episodes.
Yeah,
It's really,
I've seen
really
all
good.
of it. But I've also seen How I Met Your Mother way too many times and Parks and Rec way too many times. And Parks and Rec is like, you can't get it on any streaming services now. Mm-hmm. Any of the major ones anyway. So I can't, that can't be my fallback anymore. And Dave and I have been kind of rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine too.
Oh, wow.
And we're watching This Is Us as it comes out, which there was the first episode of this season was like a 2-hour special or 2-episode special. And then they came out with one this week. So we're caught up with that. I think I just have a lot of client work and the holidays right around the corner. So I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be overwhelmed about right now. I am also feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of work, a lot of things that have to get done before the end of the year. So
Yeah.
So we'll get through it.
Yeah.
And we'll keep podding.
And
it'll
casting
be great.
and streaming.
And casting. And
Yeah,
cooking.
I mean, it's just weird because this is the time of year that I would want to binge watch Buffy, or I can binge watch all the Harry Potters. This is always a good time of year
There
for
you
that.
go.
And that
Yeah.
always makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, we'll probably do something similar soon too.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, everybody, you can listen and subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And didn't we just get added to something else? Google something?
Yeah, Google Podcasts.
Ooh, cool.
If you are on an Android phone and you like using the Google Podcasts app, we are now in that app.
Cool.
So
And rate us 5 stars if you have the time. That helps us get noticed, and people will see that we have 5 stars and we are a quality podcast. And where can everybody contact us, Sammy?
So you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at KickstreamPod, and send emails, but no spoilers, to kickstreampod@gmail.com. And also, show notes for every episode are available at our website, kickingstreaming.com. And remember, folks, streaming is always better with friends.